Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Positive Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. So it is December now, and it is the first week of December, the first Wednesday of December, which means it is time for another monthly Q&A with me. So I have asked you guys to ask me questions over on my Instagram again and got lots and lots of questions. So I'll be answering 15 of them today. So thank you to everyone who sent one in. But before we begin, first and foremost, weekly recap. Honestly, again, not tons. Injury update, so my foot. So far so good. We're doing well. I'm back to driving. I'm back to the gym, which is absolutely incredible. And I'm back to walking Arrow. We're up to 20 minutes now. So we're getting there. We're really getting there. I'm starting dog walking again. So I'm getting back to my dog walking clients, which is so exciting. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happened this past week. I have a dog walking client today, and then I'll be starting properly again from now, really. So that's cool. Yep, driving around in my van. It's taken a bit of getting used to, I'm not going to lie, going from a tiny little Toyota Aygo to a van. It's not even a big van, but it's still quite a big difference. But yeah, so far so good. It's really good to drive. So yeah, that's fun. Back at the gym, I can't even express to you how happy that makes me. And to make matters even more fun, my gym has had a complete revamp in the 2 months that I've had off. Complete revamp, as in they've upgraded the entire gym. Everything's moved, so it feels like I'm going to a new gym. So fresh starts all around. It's really nice in there. So yeah, good vibes. Foot's feeling good, still a bit achy, but like I said, managing to walk now. Pain scale, maybe a 1 or 2 out of 10. As far as, just aching goes. Still unsure about Olympia, obviously. I want to be able to build up, and it's 3 weeks away, so probably not, but, physio's told me to wait until the very last minute to decide for sure. But I did get my invitation to the Team GB tryouts for 2025, which is super exciting, in mid-February. So exactly 10 weeks to go until that, which is, I can't even comprehend the fact that that's all it is. Just over 10 weeks, I think. And to be honest, I think that's a perfect amount of time for me to build up, start running again. I think 10 weeks is a very sensible amount of time. My physio said I'll absolutely be back to sprinting around by then. So I'm so excited. I really am. I'm just so ready to absolutely give it. Do you know what I mean? Not give it. What's the saying? Send it. That's it. Absolutely send it. Especially for the GB tryouts, but for everything next year, really. Having the 2 months off agility, I've just missed it, and I've just got this fire in my belly. What do they say? Fire under my arse. I just want to get going, and yeah, I'm feeling really motivated, feeling really sort of lots of pent up agility-ness inside of me, ready to come out. So yeah, good vibes all around. Excited for that. And what else? Oh, I had another business dinner with the Field of Dreams team. I'll be starting teaching classes in January. So busy, doing admin stuff, sorting out classes and stuff for that at the moment. Obviously 3 weeks to go till January when I want to be starting my classes. Got quite a bit of interest, especially for beginners, so that's super fun. So if you do want to train with me, whether that's one-to-ones or weekly classes, the postcode's DN21. It's half an hour from me, and I'm in Lincoln, and it's at Field of Dreams. So if you're interested, please do drop me a message. So that's either group classes or one-to-ones. I do every single level of agility, whether you've never done it before or whether you're a seasoned pro or anywhere in between. I would love to hear from you. So yeah, that was a really fun meeting, getting excited now. I just can't believe how fast this year's gone. Yes, the last 2 months have gone so slow, but at the same time, I'm oh my God, it's literally 3 weeks till the new year. That's insane. So yeah, feeling good about 2025. Oh, and we've got Dalton Meredith on the podcast next week. So this time next week, I'll be talking to Dalt all about the experience of having a run-off at AWC and getting crowned Vice World Champion there in, was it September or October, AWC? I can't remember, something like that, a few months ago. But yeah, so I'm really excited to record with Dolt, and that will be in your ears a week today. But apart from that, I think that's all of my updates for you guys so far. So shall we crack on with the Q&A questions for this month then? So, getting straight into it. Number 1, you said about waiting a few years for a new dog, but what breed? So first of all, yes, I like waiting a significant amount of time between dogs, especially when I have a dog like Arrow. Arrow missed 2 years because of COVID, really, in every sense of life. So to me, yes, he's 5, but to me, he's really like 3. And he's had the experience of more a 3-year-old, if that makes sense. And I also got him while I was in uni, and there was lots going on, COVID, uni, all the things. So he has so much to achieve still. Like, I know he does. Both of us do as a partnership. And I'm just not like dying to get another dog yet and start that journey all over again. Like, I'm still in it with Arrow, still in such a journey with Arrow. I got Arrow when I knew I had peaked Ethel, and Ethel was coming up to retirement. There was actually a period, of running Ethel and like severely plateauing while I was training Arrow up, but I'd prefer that than having to focus on 2 dogs that needed like quite intense focus and training and effort, if that makes sense. So yes, I'm waiting a few years for a new dog. I'm thinking probably, I don't know. I really don't know. It depends where life takes me, what happens with my business. Obviously, 2 dogs is a lot more money than 1, and I'm currently still only working part-time. But give it a year, maybe something to consider in 2026. Arrow will only be 6, coming into 7. So probably 2026 or 2027, potentially. I don't really know. We'll see. But what breed? I'm thinking another working Cocker Spaniel. I love them so much. Like, yes, Arrow's been hard work, but he is genuinely like my soulmate. He's such a little gem. He's like a little person. He's like a little human boy. And the connection with him is just crazy. Like, I've never felt that with a dog before in the same way. Like, obviously, Earl was special because he was my first dog. And Ethel was, I achieved... I had my first experiences doing, kind of competing in elite agility with Ethel. Like, my first experience of Team GB, Team UK, competing abroad, internationally, stuff like that. First dog to grade 7 in champ, stuff like that. But with Arrow, it's like, I don't know if it's because we've been through so much and had to do so much work together and stuff like that. But I don't know, he's just such a special little boy, and he's just the coolest little dog and the loveliest, softest little dog, and he just makes the house feel like a home. I know that sounds so cheesy, but I don't know, the energy of a spaniel I just love. Like, not the energy as in highly strung, but just like his vibe. I just love him so much. But I think I might try girl next time. In my opinion, I've said this before, but Ethel has the mindset for agility. She's unfazed. Both of my boys have been super sensitive. Don't know if that's a boy thing or whether it's just my experience. And I did have some issues with Arrow's hormones, as far as his behaviour because of them, etc. But yeah, I'm thinking of potentially having a girl next, just for something new on my part as a trainer and handler as well, trying a different kind of dog, if that makes sense, with potentially a bit of a different attitude. I mean, Arrow's spot on. I couldn't wish for a better boy. But yeah, just for something different. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, I love a spaniel. I don't think I want to stray from a spaniel. I don't think I just want one spaniel in my life and then move on to another breed. I think me and my spaniel sort of journey is definitely not over. I don't want to move on from that breed yet, I don't think. So yeah, another working Cocker Spaniel, but probably a girl, but no guaranteeing the gender, but yeah, I have a while to decide. So question number 2 is how to get over anxious / high emotions before competition runs. This is a great question. This is something that I have had to deal with and still do deal with quite a lot. I'm quite an anxious, emotional person, which isn't too helpful in competition as far as, sometimes we can let those emotions get the better of us and put us in a worst state of mind so that we're not going to perform at our best. But also, I think it's kind of a blessing as well as a curse because, it gives us that extra adrenaline, and it's adrenaline that gets you prepared to run and, perform at your best and give it your all. So you do need adrenaline to perform well, but sometimes it can get too much and, ruin your focus or, just make the whole process less enjoyable, throw you off guard so that you're not, clear and sure of yourself while you're running. And obviously your dog is going to pick up on that, and you're probably not going to have the best run ever. So if your emotions are getting the better of you before competition runs, my main piece of advice, I would say, is to make sure you have a consistent pre-run routine in place. So find what works for you. If you don't have one yet, a lot of it will be a case of trial and error. So I include my warm-up in the pre-run routine, a little bit of time where I give my dog to my groom and go and watch the course and mentally walk the course. Then obviously I'll warm myself up without the dog, and then I will take Arrow and warm him up as well, and then start queuing. So, have a routine that's got the same steps in it in the same order. Use that time to just concentrate on yourself and your dog and get yourself in the zone. And then you will probably end up finding comfort in that pre-run routine because it's predictable. You know what to expect. You do this same thing every time. So I don't know, it just makes me feel a lot more comfortable going into a run, having that routine that I know is always the same, bit of control there, which is always nice. And obviously warming yourself and your dog up is super important as well. So it's nice to get that done in that routine, and you've done everything you can to physically and mentally prepare yourself and your dog for the run. And that's really all it's about, really, isn't it? It's knowing that you've done your best. Like, at the end of the day, as long as you know you've done everything you can to set you and your dog up for success, there's nothing more you can do. And you should be happy with yourself and your dog because of that, because we can't control everything. We can't control sometimes what happens in the run. Sometimes we can never control how other people do as far as where we place, etc. So as long as you go in there and do your absolute best, and you've done your pre-run routine to set yourself up for success, you can come out of that ring happy, and obviously do your post-run routine as well, which is obviously kind of cooling down physically and mentally for both you and your dog, but also physically cooling down, but also like mentally winding down from the adrenaline. I don't like to just go straight back into the car after a run. I like to, walk around a bit, have a bit of a conversation with my groom, and cool down, just chill and get myself get that heart rate back down to normal as well. So that's important. But pre-run routine is huge. And also try and remind yourself, will this run matter in 3 months or a year, for example? No, probably not. You probably won't even remember it in 3 months or a year, especially if it's just a quote-unquote normal run. Yes, if it's a final or one-off important run, yes, you will probably remember it. But even if it goes wrong, I don't think in 3 months or a year or more, you're going to, well, especially not after a year, you're not going to, still be absolutely in bits over a run that went bad that long ago. So every run, just try and think it's just another run, and agility will always be there, hopefully, as far as we know, and you'll always have more chances to have a good run and succeed, even if it is a one-off event. Like, for example, me and Olympia, it's a one-off event to qualify for Olympia. We did it, but now I might not be able to even do it. Do you get what I mean? But I have to try and think, in a year, it'll be another Olympia, and it won't matter anymore, if that makes sense. Like, we might have qualified again and be doing it again, or, even if it's in a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? So nothing matters that much, if that makes sense. So try and remind yourself of that. And then lastly, experience. So I know, not very helpful piece of advice, but the more experience you get, you'll probably find you get less nervous. I still get nervous, and I've been doing agility since I was 10 years old, and I'm now 23. But so it'll always be there a little bit. Again, it depends what kind of person you are. I'm quite predisposed to feeling nervous or anxious, but definitely nowhere near as bad as it used to be when I was new to the sport. So just keep pushing yourself, keep putting yourself in the situations where you can, get experience and get that under your belt and grow from it and learn from it. And you'll find that your brain calms down as you get more experience, especially like, for example, me competing every single weekend of the summer in the season. When you're doing something that often, it will become more normal. You can't get super stressed for every single run when you're doing it every weekend. That is not a sustainable way to live, to be honest. So yeah. And then it sounds stupid, but like things outside of agility that just chill your central nervous system and, get those cortisol levels down and stuff like that. So breath work, meditation, anything like that, yoga, if you're into fitness like me, Pilates, anything chill. Just in your day-to-day life, so just including that as part of your daily routine or weekly or whatever, and just trying to put your body and mind in a generally calm state, and that should be more of a normal state for you to be in. There are also great ways to calm yourself down, if you are at a show or if you're, after a show or before a show, having those tools there that you know how to use to calm yourself down will help. So the next one is, how did you start teaching arrow distance skills while you've been injured? So funnily enough, it's actually not funny at all. It's really annoying. But a year ago, what did I do? I did something to my Achilles tendon. I got Achilles tendonitis. If you can probably all remember if you followed me for a year. But exactly this time last year, I also couldn't run because of my Achilles tendon. It was bothering me, so I had to start teaching arrow proper distance stuff a year ago. So this year we already had quite a bit under our belt from last year. So I didn't really have to start from scratch with that. But last year I did have to kind of start from scratch with that. But my best tips for that is to work on forward focus. So something that I teach my online coaching students from the get-go is forward focus. So setting your dog up and teaching them a cue to look at the first obstacle or the obstacle in front of them, and then releasing them to that while you're behind. That is huge, 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 huge. And often, especially on course these days, when we see, the first jump is jumping sort of quote unquote out of the ring and back, it's really helpful if you can be way behind your dog and send your dog to that jump and while you're getting off to another part of the course. So forward focus is huge because obviously in distance handling, you want your dog to drive on ahead of you. So they need that forward focus. Also to practice drive and focus-based exercises. So there's lots and lots and lots of focus and drive-based exercises that you can do with your dog. Again, if you're one of my online coaching students, you will have got a whole tutorial on lots of different drive and focused based exercises. Obviously not going to give them all away here, but there is lots that you can do for that. You just want to be prioritizing that drive, getting your dog to drive to you, drive to a reinforcer, drive to a static toy, stuff like that, and getting your dog to, like I said, watch an obstacle, watch you, deciphering between them. Obstacle discrimination is really important as well. So if you're nowhere near to block an obstacle, then, for example, tunnel under contacts, weave tunnel discrimination, stuff like that. When you get obstacles really close together on course, you're not going to be there to block or, physically get your dog to do one and not the other. So you really want to work on your cues so your dog has a super good understanding of what the different cues mean. You can do exercises on a jump that focus on verbals. So you're standing behind your dog. Often I start the dog between my legs and then send them to a jump and give them a cue. So that could be right, 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 left, left, left. So right or left wing wrap on the jump, or back, or la, la, la. So either a backside or a threadle wrap. And they have to do that without any of my physical assistance. Obviously, this takes a bit of practice and you do have to start by giving them a bit of physical assistance if they've never done it before. But yeah, there's lots of little exercises that you can start to do to start implementing those distance skills without going straight into running a whole course at a distance, obviously. And I mean, I'm still not incredible at it. I've still majority of my agility career with Arrow, haven't done distance stuff, but from last year and this year, I'd say now he is pretty good at it. But again, it comes with confidence, it comes with experience. Basically, the more confident your dog is in their skills and the cues you're giving and what you're asking of them, the more they are going to drive on to do that thing. So, yeah. If you want any more help with distance skills and teaching, distance skills and handling, then please do get in touch. The next question is, what are you doing during the week to stay fit while you're injured? So I actually am back to the gym now. So I will give you my normal weekly workout split for when life is normal and I'm running agility. So Monday, legs and glutes, core, and obviously walk. Tuesday, shoulders and arms, core, and a walk, obviously. Wednesday, I have agility, and then I also do another little walk. Thursday, Pilates and a walk. Friday, chest and back, core, and a walk. Saturday is usually agility at a show, so that takes up the whole day. And then Sunday, rest day, just walk. That's what I normally do at the moment because I'm not doing agility properly. I'm doing 4 weight workouts. So Monday, legs and glutes and walk. Tuesday, shoulders and arms, core and walk. Wednesday, agility and a walk. So that's kind of a rest day because I'm just walking the agility. Thursday, Pilates and a walk. Friday, chest and back, core and a walk. Saturday, functional full body, core and a walk. And then Sunday, another rest day, just a walk. So on my rest days, I do like to make them active rest days in the sense of I'm still moving my body because I just feel like a complete potato if I do no movement in a day. So I, gentle walking. I'm only doing 20 minutes at the moment anyway, gradually building back up to half an hour at a time. And then I'll do like 2 walks, if that makes sense, a day and build it up like that until I'm back to doing 2 half-an-hour walks a day. But that's what I'm doing at the moment. The last one I gave you. And then when I'm back to running agility properly, because doing agility properly is intense, I cut back a little bit. I cut down on 1 gym session in the week. And what I did when I was proper injured and couldn't even walk and couldn't go to the gym, I did all my workouts from home. So Monday I did shoulders and arms and core. Tuesday I did legs and glutes. Wednesday I did chest and back and core. Then Thursday I had my rest. I did a bit of stretching and mobility for that active rest. Friday, and then I basically rinsed and repeated that. So Friday was shoulders and arms and core, Saturday was legs and glutes, and Sunday was chest and back and core, and then I go back into that on the Monday. So I was just having 1 rest day a week, but you've got to remember, while I was proper injured and couldn't walk, literally the only movement I was doing in the day was that shoulders and arms and core, legs and glutes, chest and back and core, etc., which took like an hour. So, that's why I was working out 6 days a week, because I wasn't doing anything else. Whereas, as you can tell, when I'm back to the gym and back to doing a bit of agility and walking, I don't do that many workouts in a week. So basically, the more I get back to normal, the less workouts I'll be doing in a week, because agility will come back to it. I'll be doing more walking, especially with my clients and stuff like that. So the priority now basically is to not overdo it again like I did and try not to get injured again through overuse, basically. But that is pretty much what I'm doing. I am back at the gym now, like I just said, but I'm doing lightweight and high reps to get back into it. Obviously, I don't want to go back into heavy lifting after not lifting heavy for like over 2 months. I did leg day yesterday, low weight, high reps, and today, oh my God, my legs are so sore. In a good way, and not awfully, but like sore. Because I haven't done it for ages. Do you know what I mean? So it makes sense. But yeah, making sure not to overdo it, keep it light, keep it high reps. And yeah, and that is pretty much it. What else I've been prioritising nutrition hugely, hydration and recovery as well. Nutrition is a huge part of it. You can't out-train a bad diet, as they say. So I've been eating super good, staying hydrated, drinking lots of water, and even though I find it harder to drink enough water in the winter because I'm cold most of the time. I don't want water. I don't know what it is. Whereas the summer, obviously you're sweating more and you're like glugging water. But even in the gym, like in the winter, I'm cold, I just don't feel like drinking. But anyway, trying to do that. And obviously recovery, so getting lots of rest and sleep, because again, I've learned from this whole experience that is just as, if not more important than the actual exercise. So yeah, and walking wise, I'm gradually building back up. So that is what I've been doing to stay fit while I'm injured. Super important to keep doing stuff while I'm injured, not obviously on the injured body part, but in general, doing what you can do, not focusing on what you can't do, focusing on what you can do and keeping that up. Because if I'd just given into it 2 months ago and done absolutely no exercise or workouts in 2 months, I'd have lost a lot of my fitness. Do you know what I mean? Not to be dramatic, but then it takes longer to get back to fitness. But because I've been keeping up my upper body, keeping up my core, doing stuff like that, I'm at a much better place now. Now I'm getting back into stuff properly than I would have been if I hadn't done anything. So that is really important. And I know at the time it can be really hard to, keep up your motivation to carry on when you're in a bad place mentally because of your injury. I did struggle with this. I had a few days where I did nothing because I was just too depressed. But it is really important to make yourself keep it up. So, next question. What does your training look like in the build-up to Team GB tryouts? So again, I'm starting back properly now. It's a bit different this time because I haven't been able to do as much or anything really. But usually running long technical courses with things like layering in it, okay? Because you'll see a lot of that internationally and on European style courses, as you will probably know. So my prep will be doing long technical courses where I can. Obviously, I'm not going straight back into that because I haven't been doing it. So like I said, it is a bit different this year and I haven't even began running again yet. But that's what I'll be getting Arrow back into doing. Practicing our weaknesses as well. Be real with yourself. Yours and your dog's weaknesses. So target those in training sessions. I spoke about this on a previous episode about how we love to do what we know we're good at and feels good because it boosts our ego and it does feel good, but that's not going to improve. That's not going to help you improve. So you want to be practicing and improving on your weaknesses. Make that training plan for your weaknesses. I did discuss how to build a training plan that works for you and your dog, I think 2 episodes ago. So go check that out. Also practicing things in Tryout and Event Judges previous courses. So looking at what judges are going to be at the tryouts, not who's judging, it's more who designs the courses at tryouts. That information's all out there now. You can find on the Kennel Club website, Facebook, etc. So looking at the course designers, finding their previous courses and, practicing what you see in there. Also having a look at the event judges, so EO, AWC, looking at, their previous courses and practicing things in that. Also, I like to practice things that I saw at tryouts and EO. I was going to say last year, but it is still this year, 2024. So, I've done tryouts and EO before, so I know what I saw there. So I'm going to practice that, especially the things that I not failed, that's a horrible word, but didn't do successfully, I'll say, this year. So yeah, basically focusing on weaknesses to improve. And then, like I said already, practicing difficult and technical skills. So including layering, stuff like threadle wraps, stuff like that, especially things where, you might not be there because it's such a long technical course, or, you might find yourself in the wrong place or on the opposite side of your dog. So yeah, really making sure that you're practicing your weaknesses and the difficult technical things and making sure you have those down so you can go in confident. The next question kind of follows on, and that is, how do you know when you're ready to try out for Team GB? So the Open Showcase in January is obviously open to everyone, but it does say specifically those who believe they have a chance to compete for Team GB. But to be honest, the first time I did Open Showcase with Arrow, I didn't expect to get on Team GB. I just wanted to give him experience in that environment and running those courses. So, the Open Showcase is open for you. And you'll probably get quite a good idea of where you're at as far as Team GB goes from doing that. So I think that's a great thing to do. You want to compete for Team GB, you want to have confidence in yourself and your dog's skills, okay? So you want to know that you have the skill set to do so. So that's your technical skills. Again, you want to have a good connection with your dog. You have to be super on par with your dog on courses like that, especially when emotions are high, adrenaline's high, pressure's high. You want to have that good connection and confidence with your dog, not only to set yourself up for success, but to make the whole process more enjoyable as well, because it can be very stressful. But you've just got to expect that, to be honest. You've also got to have the ability to run international and European style courses. So the best thing you can do to figure out where you're at with that and get better at them is to get experience. So again, Open Showcase is a great way to experience that. There's also International Insight do course running days for those kind of courses, and there's EOS simulators and stuff ran at Dog Sports Derby, which is the venue for the tryouts as well. So getting all the experience you can, really, finding out where you're at, and then being able to go from there and create your training plans, etc. And then, you need your technical skills, so handling manoeuvres, layering, threadle wraps, all the technical things. You want to at least be able to execute them, even if they're not absolutely perfect. And then last of all, just go for it. Like, if it's something you want to do, get entered into Open Showcase, know what to expect. So don't go in thinking it's a breeze, because it's not. Know where you're at with your dog and how likely you are to succeed. Don't do it if you are brand new or if you haven't, trained the things that I've mentioned. But, if you think, you've got that pretty much, then give it a go. You don't know unless you try. So the next one is tips for someone trying to balance progressing in agility with uni. So this is a great question, because I know a lot of my listeners are sort of probably around uni age, maybe a bit younger. And as most of you probably know, I did go to uni. Well, I didn't really go to uni. I got a degree in canine behaviour and training, but I did the course from home because it's when I got Arrow. I wanted to be able to get my puppy and train him and bond with him and keep up agility as well with Ethel. I didn't want to kind of disappear for 3 years, in a sense. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want that, because obviously I want to be a trainer. I wanted to work with dogs and within agility back then as well, as I do now. So I wanted to stay in that world. So I didn't go off to uni, but I did get a degree and still had the same workload to do. So it was a bit easier for me to balance uni and agility being at home with my dogs, but I still had the workload. So from my experience, do what you can and don't have unrealistic expectations. So, just understand that you're trying to balance two big things and you can't do one perfectly when you've got the other one. Do you get what I mean? You have to strive for balance. So if you're going to balance the two, don't expect to be the best you'll ever be at agility while you're in uni. And prioritise, like, you do kind of have to prioritise uni for the years that you're in uni. Often, for me, it was 3 years in the big scheme of my life. Like I said before, for another question, agility is always going to be there. Uni isn't. As far as the course you're on right now, it's going to end and you're going to have your life to do agility. So sometimes you've just got to, take a loss of a show or a couple of shows, or peak performance for those years, because you won't be training as much, and that's fine and it's normal, and everyone's the same. And sometimes you'll have more time than others. So, if you're working up to a deadline, you won't have a lot of time to do agility, and that's fine. Other times, your deadlines will be out the way. You've got your summer holidays, your Christmas holidays, stuff like that. And that's when you can really, delve more into your training and do more agility. So all you can do is your best. Basically know that uni will end, but agility will always be there. So make sure you do your best at uni. Don't sacrifice uni performance for agility, I don't think. But still try and do a bit of both. Extremes never end well, at least for me. So I tried to balance both. I could have done more uni work or more, I could have studied more, but I'm not a hugely academic person anyway. I didn't enjoy studying, so I did what I had to do and I tried hard with uni, but I also kept my, head in agility as well and kept that up. And yeah, I think I achieved a pretty good balance and graduated with my degree, and had still been keeping up uni. So yeah, just strive for that balance. And yeah, it's common sense. You know, if you've got your deadlines, if you're struggling with a certain class, probably going to have to do a bit more uni work than agility for that period. And yeah, it's all about balance, okay? So what are you going to do to prevent another injury going forward? So there's only so much you can do in this sense. So I was already doing what you're meant to be doing. So strength training, stretching and mobility, seeing an osteopath for my back, eating well. The thing I didn't do, and I was always crap at, that I have to change now, so this is what I'm going to do going forward to prevent another injury, is to not overdo it and rest more. Prioritise rest and recovery, for God's sake. I'm a very go person. I've said this before, and I did overdo it. Hence a stress fracture, which is overuse. So yeah, I'm not going to overdo it anymore. I can't do that anymore, because I think that is why I was getting injured quite a lot. And I didn't listen to my body a lot of the time. I just kept pushing, because that is kind of just my character. But I've got to I've got to teach myself not to do that anymore, because it was going to happen. I wasn't listening to the little injuries and little niggles and the signs and the tiredness. I just kept going, thinking it'll be fine. And this happened. So as I've said before, if you don't choose to rest your body and take time off and chill, your body will choose to do that for you, and you won't have a choice. Like, I've had to have 2 months not doing a lot now because my body's gone, well, you didn't give me rest, so I'm going to make you rest now. So that's what I'm going to do in the future, not overdo it. I'm going to do less in the future to prevent more injury. So yeah, but I do think some people are more injury prone than others. I always thought I was, but maybe I was just purely overdoing it. And when I stop overdoing it, I won't be injury prone anymore. But that's what I'm going to try, and hopefully that is the case. So another one, and this one's really interesting. So I'm too nervous to eat on a show morning, but don't feel energized for my runs. What should I do? This is a great question, and I think I've spoke to a lot of people that this happens to, and I think it's quite normal to not want to eat when you're nervous. I'm kind of the opposite. I used to be a really bad stress eater, so if I was stressed or upset, I would eat, and I know that's really not ideal. That's not a great way to do things. Because usually as well, it's you want chocolate, you want sweets, you want things that make you feel good. Do you know what I mean? When you're stressed. But you do need food to feel energized. Food is fuel, especially when you're an athlete, especially when you're doing exercise and sports and stuff. So if you're finding that you don't feel energized for your runs because you haven't eaten anything, you're just going to have to eat something. Do you know what I mean? First of all, you'll probably find that your nerves decrease with experience. So the more shows you do, you'll probably feel less nervous on a morning of a show, to the point where you can hopefully feel okay to eat. But try making something, right, that you absolutely love, like something that makes you think, oh, yes, drool over that. So make it the night before as well. So it's there. You don't have to make the effort of preparing it and mulling over the fact that you don't actually want it while you're making it. And as well, if you wake up in the morning, you feel sick or you're not hungry because you're nervous, you're just not going to want to make food. So have it prepared. I make a Weetabix protein cheesecake. The recipe is on my feed if you trawl back a bit. It's basically Weetabix milk, yogurt, and then some toppings. And that's super high in protein and fibre. Keeps you full as well, especially on those early show mornings where you might not be eating for a while afterwards. But yeah, just make something and make yourself eat it and see how you feel. So next time you go to a show, wake up and just make yourself eat something. Okay, so to start with, keep it simple and light. So a piece of toast or a banana, for example. Something small and light that won't sit in your stomach, if that makes sense. Easily digestible. Also, toast or a banana, quick release energy from carbs. So that'll give you a nice spurt first thing in the morning for your first run. And then if that's fine, then move to something with protein that'll keep you fuller for longer. Protein is more of a slow release energy, so that'll keep you, energized for more than just your first run. But yeah, just try it, okay? Try it again. Start with something light, see how that feels, see if you do feel more energized in your runs, and I'm sure you will. I bet you will, okay? So just give it a go. Try toast or a banana. If it makes you feel more energized, fantastic. next time, if that's okay and you don't feel too sick off that, then try moving something slightly heavier, not heavy, but like I said, protein, my protein Weetabix cheesecake, or overnight oats or something like that. Move to something a bit more substantial that will keep you full for longer, because a banana or toast will probably only keep you full and energized for that maybe first run out of potential 4. And yeah, obviously you've got your lunch midday, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I think the only thing you're going to have to do here is make yourself eat. And to be honest, if you make yourself do it, then it'll probably become more normal. Like, I always have breakfast every single day, no matter what's going on in my day. And because my body expects that kind of, now I wake up and I'm hungry. I'm ready for breakfast. My body is in a rhythm with having breakfast at that, when I wake up. It's kind of routine. Bodies love routine. So yeah, just make yourself do it and I'm sure you'll feel more energized because of it. Let me know how you get on. Next question is, my dog hates the weaves. How do I get him to love them? So this is something Arrow went through quite badly. He would walk through the weaves. He would come out of the weaves at like the 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, whatever. Especially the 10th. It was always the bloody 10th. But he hated them. There's lots of videos out there that I've put on all my socials of what Arrow's weaves used to look like versus what they look like now. Arrow absolutely is obsessed with the weaves now, and he screams through them and he's super fast. And he can do them without movement from me, from a distance, stuff like that. So the first thing that I did, and this is so simple and anyone can do it, is just to make them work through them, okay? Obviously in a nice way. Don't make a big deal and avoid them and stuff like that. Make them work through them with confidence in yourself as a handler as you run them. And they'll learn that they're harmless. Do you know what I mean? So your dog will eventually learn that they're totally fine and they've done them before and nothing bad happens. When you're training them, keep sessions short and reinforcement high. So don't overdo it and make sure that the majority of the session is about play and reward in comparison to the amount of time your dog spends actually doing the work, if that makes sense. So you want your dog to associate the weaves with lots of reward, lots of play, lots of food, stuff like that. Also go back to basics. I've been doing a series on my social media called Back to Basics lately, and it's all about going back to the foundation of behaviours in agility, because, anyone can and should do this every now and again, especially if your dog is either plateauing or, in the training process, or has taken an aversion to a piece of equipment. So for the weaves, if you taught your dog weaves with the channel method, open the channels back up, get your dog racing through them to their reward and stuff like that. Make them fun and easy again. You can also reward just entries. So send your dog into the entry and literally reward as they come through that second gap, and have a huge play reward session. Also, just do them in one place until he's comfortable there and then start generalising. So just do them in the safety of your garden for a while. And once he's comfortable with that, you could take them to a local park or field. Then start doing them in training classes and then start doing them in competition, if that makes sense. Like I said, these are all options. Every dog's different. Arrow's, the thing that worked for Arrow was just getting him to do them everywhere and making him work through them. Same with all the other equipment, because he was nervous in general. But try these things and see what works for your dog. Make sure you're using his favourite reinforcer as well. So it could be that they're just not fun enough because you're not using the correct reinforcement that your dog loves. So for Arrow, it's stinky sprats. And the only way you can find this really is to experiment with lots of different types of reinforcer. So toys, treats, different treats. And that'll make him just love the whole experience way more. And finally, make sure you're always upbeat and encouraging, and do not tell him off if he does them wrong. Be really, instead of going, no, wrong, and walking back in silence, go, oopsie, let's try again. And then just do the entry and then huge reward. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah. I sound like a complete weirdo in the weaves because I still do it to this day. I literally go weave, and then I'm, wow, super good boy throughout the whole weaves. I barely even say weave when he's actually in the weaves. That's just a habit. That's how we do the weaves because we did it for so long. But that really helps as well. Just that encouragement and just reassuring him that he's been a super good boy and he's about to get his reward. So the next one, again, another very familiar question is, my terrier has lost his contacts. He had stopped. Any tips? Right. So first of all, Ethel lost her contacts near the end of her career. And we came to the conclusion that it was probably physical. It was probably hurting her joints because she had stopped and she was such a little dog, creeping down that A-frame on her wrists. Do you know what I mean? Seesaw as well, jumping off the side, probably avoiding the bang because it caused discomfort physically. Dog walk, same thing. It's that slowing down on a decline. That goes through their wrists, their shoulders, stuff like that, even their neck, if they're in a bit of discomfort. And a dog that's had a career of agility, especially, and I hate to say it, but a lot of us are like this. So when we started with our first or second agility dog, Ethel was my first quote unquote proper agility dog. But even then I got her and I was still at my old fun club where, I hate to say it, but it was like agility on the lead, luring, and everything was a stopped contact, not even a stopped contact, just a slow down until you get the contact and then jump off, if that makes sense. So really you want to, and basically, and physio for dogs wasn't a thing, if that makes sense, all those years ago. So these dogs, unfortunately, may end up with, whether that's arthritis or just joint discomfort, anything along those lines. So that could be a consideration. So as far as that goes, consider retraining to running, especially with the A-frame. This is way better for their joints and their bodies because they're keeping momentum and they're not putting that pressure as they decelerate on that decline. I tried to retrain Ethel to running, but it just didn't click with her. I used the exact same method as I have done with Arrow, but it just didn't click for her for whatever reason. Hang on, I need to turn down my foot heater. It's burning my feet. I've got a foot warmer on right now and I just felt my ankle burning and that's why. Right, turned it down. Anyway, winter, we love it, eh? So yeah, you could try retraining to running, but it doesn't suit every dog. I use the exact same method as I have with Arrow to try and retrain Ethel from stops to running, and she just didn't pick it up. It just didn't register with her. But she was like 6 when I did that, so, who knows if that was why, but at least I tried. But you could try with your dog. Your dog might be totally different. So the main thing is to ask yourself why. So is it physical? Go get your dog checked out with a physio. Rule anything physical out first. Potentially retrain to running. I do a running dog walk course online that is suitable for retrains from stops. If you'd like to inquire, please do get in touch. Takes you right from the very start, right to where Arrow is now with his running contacts. So that's an option. But it could also just be down to a lack of consistent criteria. So does your dog understand their criteria first and foremost? Is there a clear cue that leads to a particular specific behaviour that gets a reward? And do you always enforce this? So, for example, if your criteria is touch and the dog has to stop and wait until you say okay to be released, is this every single time your dog sees a contact? Do you do this? So at shows as well as training? Because if you don't, then that's why. That's why your dog's lost the contacts, because the criteria isn't clear or consistent. And I had this with Ethel. Oh my God, I let contacts go in the ring because I was doing stuff like GB, etc., at the time, and I wasn't quite as experienced of a handler or trainer. I didn't realise the repercussions, and I think that's another reason why she lost her contacts in the end. So yeah, just make sure that's consistent. You have to throw runs in shows to make it consistent if you want your dog to ever have consistent contacts and not be stressing when you go into the ring about if they're going to do their contacts or not. You have to. So yeah, and then go back to basics as well. So nose target away from the contact, for example. If you taught a stop with a nose target at the bottom of the contact, go back to just training the nose target away from the contact, and slowly reintroduce it to the contact after that's, clear and your dog has a good understanding of it away from the contact. And only progress when your dog's success rate is at least 95% on the previous stage. I always say that. So the next question is, my parents don't support my agility. How do I change their mind? So this is really sad. Luckily for me, my parents have always been so supportive of my agility and wanting to make it into a career and stuff like that. They've taken me abroad. My mum comes to all the shows with me still to this day. She loves it. You know, she took me when I couldn't drive. So I haven't experienced this myself, but all I can suggest is to keep doing what you can to show them that you're genuinely passionate about agility and that you take it seriously. So training your dog at home, for example, teaching tricks and behaviours at home and in the garden and showing them what you've done. Making yourself a better trainer and showing them that you are a really talented dog trainer. And also making sure that your dog is super obedient, you know, in the home environment, out and about, around your parents. Because that's impressive. That's impressive, shites. That's really impressive. If you're a young person and you can train a dog to be obedient and do cool things, like, that's a skill and your parents should see that. And there's only so much you can do. And I'm sorry you're going through that. But yeah, just do what you can with what you can with your situation. And hopefully that will show them that you are generally passionate. Do your research on shows, agility, how processes work, slip it into conversation, talk to them about it, keep saying, oh, I'd really love to do this, this would be really cool, I think I could make some really good friends at like this show or this YKC camp or something like that. Show them websites, get them to listen to this podcast, for example. Anything like that. Just do what you can and good luck, and hopefully they will come around eventually. Thoughts on the insecurity of having a business that relies on the weather? Yeah, so if you want to be an agility trainer and you don't have an indoor venue, you are going to be relying on the weather, and you probably are going to have to cancel your classes if it's bad weather. It's part and parcel. It is what it is. We can't control the weather, but in my opinion, the risk of that insecurity, sometimes having less income than other times, is well worth it to pursue both a job that you're truly passionate about and the freedom of being self-employed. Again, everyone's different with what they want out of a career path, but for me, I want to get up in the morning and love what I do for work. And I also have always wanted the freedom of being self-employed. I've always wanted to run my own business and be my own boss, so I can give myself the time off for shows and agility events and stuff like that. So if those things matter to you enough, then it will be worth the risk of the insecurity of the weather. And you've just got to remember as well that no job is 100% secure. Like, even when you're employed by a company, I was employed by that social media company a year ago, and they got rid of me because the company wasn't earning enough money. That's out of my control too. Like, that wasn't secure in a sense. Like, you can lose a job that you're employed at, I'd say, just as easily as you can, probably almost more easily than you can, lose your income if you're self-employed, because you have even less control, if that makes sense. When you're self-employed, there's other things you can do if you've got that entrepreneur mindset. So yeah, that's my opinion on that, but it is a good question and very thought-provoking. But I think with anything, there's risks involved with anything, and anything worth having is worth, working really hard for and risking some things for. So, nearly done now. What kind of things should I be training if I want to get on Team GB? So, this is quite a similar question to our Team GB questions earlier. But like I said before, is to run long and technical courses, including layering, and practice your weaknesses. Research the tryout and event judges and train the skills in their previous courses. Practice difficult and technical skills like threadle wraps. Get experience running international and European style courses to build your confidence and the connection between you and your dog. Like I said, experience. Nothing is as valuable as experience. But if anyone wants to know anything else about Team GB or the process, or just, the whole thing in more depth, I did a podcast episode with Greg Derritt a couple of weeks ago on all things Team GB, and when we hosted EO in the UK here this year in the summer. So please do go and listen to that. It's a bit of a long one, but it was so informative. Pretty much everything you could wish to know about Team GB and what goes into it is in that episode. So do give that a watch or a listen. So yeah, quick answer for that, because I feel like I've already really covered that. But yeah, the Greg Derritt podcast episode is definitely a great insight if you want to learn more about Team GB, or if you're interested in getting selected for the team in the future, trying out. And then there's also some stuff in there about managing Team GB if anyone is interested in going into the management side of it one day. So check that out. And now we're on to the last question. And this is a fun one. I always like to include a fun one at the end of these Q&A episodes. I always get some fun, maybe non-agility related ones, which I love. Thanks, guys. This one is, what is your go-to Starbucks order? So as most of you probably know, I'm always at a coffee shop. Starbucks is my fave. I am always there. It is one of the highlights of life, in my opinion. A nice coffee, a nice overpriced coffee from a coffee shop. So if I'm getting a hot drink, at the moment, my go-to is an oat milk flat white. If it's after 12, I get a decaf because I've never been a great sleeper. So I want to make sure I don't have caffeine in my system when I go to bed, because caffeine stays in the system for quite a long time. And that has actually helped me. So if it's before 12, I'll have a normal. If it's after 12, I'll have a decaf. But yeah, oat milk flat white. I used to have oat milk latte all the time, but flat white, you can taste the coffee more. Like, I was finding that with a latte, it just tasted like milk in a sense. So I missed that tang of coffee. So flat white is the perfect mix between milky and still that nice coffee taste. And then if I'm getting a cold drink, I usually get the iced brown sugar oat shaken espresso, or just an iced oat milk flat white. So same as my hot, but obviously iced if I want it cold. But yeah, the iced brown sugar oat shaken espresso is, yes, it's a tongue twister when you're ordering it, but it is phenomenal. I love it so much. Usually if I'm getting food, I'll have just the plain flat white. But if I'm just having a drink, I'll have the sweeter iced brown sugar oat shaken espresso. And yeah, most of you probably didn't need or want to know that, but now you do. Now you know what I get from Starbucks, and it might change if I'm just in a different mood. It might change. Who knows? But those are my go-to Starbucks orders. Obviously, we're in hot coffee season, in my opinion, at the moment, because I'm always bloody cold. So if I can get a hot drink that warms me up, then give me it right now. But yeah, guys, that is all the questions. You know what? That was quite a long one today. We're nearly an hour. My solo episodes usually aren't an hour, but I have absolutely loved this. This was really good fun. I love these episodes. They're so much fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Please do come back this time next week, for the Dalton Meredith episode. I'll be talking to Dalt on Monday, and the episode will be going up on Wednesday. So I'm super excited for that. Talking all about AWC, becoming Vice World Champion, and also running off, that sounds so funny. Having a runoff, competing in a runoff at AWC. Can't wait to hear more about that. So please do come back. Make sure you're following the podcast so you don't miss that or any future episodes. I'm really hitting the guests hard. That sounds so brutal. But I'm really making a huge effort with my guest episodes at the moment. Got so many fun ones lined up. Please do keep sending me your topic ideas, whether that's solo episodes or guest episodes. I always try to do episodes on everything you guys suggest. So thank you for those. Keep sending them in. And also, if you're feeling generous, please do leave the podcast a rating or review. That would mean the world to me. 5 stars if you're feeling generous. Your Christmas present to me, because it is December now. It's officially Christmas. Who am I kidding? As soon as Halloween was finished, in my head it was Christmas. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it from me. Make sure you are following me on all of the socials. At Pause in Pursuit on pretty much everything. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. Like I said, with the increased time I've had on my hands lately, I've been making more of an effort to make content as well for social media. So my Back to Basics series is every Wednesday. So do go check that out. There will be a fresh one on there from today if you're listening to this on the day it comes out. And I've also been teaching Arrow lots of fun new tricks as well. Our most recent one was hold, so he can now hold a rosette for duration on cue, which was so much fun to teach. So if you have any more suggestions for cool tricks I can teach Arrow, please do let me know that as well. But yeah, if you want to know any more, or if you want me to answer any of the questions mentioned or any of the other questions that you may have for me in more depth, then please do send me a DM. My DMs are always open and I love to hear from you guys. But without further ado, I will let you guys go. Enjoy your week, and I will see you all. Well, I'll talk to you all in next week's episode with Dalt. Bye, guys.